Hello everyone. In one of the previous lecture we discussed about the ability and stability of the system of a first order system. In this lecture we discuss about the same thing but for the second order system. So we are going to do the response analysis of a second order system in the time domain. But first before that we need to make sure that system should be stable. So when system is stable only then we do the response analysis where we choose the basic parameter as the damping. So based on the damping we have three types of the system. The underdamped system, overdamped system and the critically damped system. Underdamped system में overshoot आता है, that may cause the system to get unstable. Overdamped system gets sluggish, and critically damped system, that what we supposed to have, that the best system that we must supposed to achieve is actually unfortunately practically unrealizable. Why? Because this system is defined for the basic parameter a particular value. This system is defined for a particular value of zeta. What is zeta in this case? The basic parameter on which we define, we are analyzing the system. We have a lot of basic parameter, no? At which we can like analyze the system. We may have the time constant as the basic parameter, damping as the basic parameter, gain as the basic parameter, or maybe the frequency as the basic parameter, on which we are going to form the polar plot Nyquist board. When we choose the gain as the basic parameter, we design the root locus. When we have the damping as the basic parameter, we design this. Before that, the basic parameter is the time constant. So, what is the problem with the critical damped system? Suppose you achieve this system that is critically damped whose zeta value equal to 1. But if your zeta value little fluctuate from this value, the system is no more a critically damped system and it easily get fluctuate. There is a lot of reason. What is the reason that it could may have? Like a system may have some energy left into the system, like transient may left because of the transient. Because of the external noise and disturbance, it may get fluctuate, or maybe the aging of the component may be the reason that will fluctuate the value of your damping. And if it little bit fluctuate, either your system going to become the underdamped or overdamped, because the system is not analyzed for a value of basic parameter. It is analyzed for a range of value of basic parameter. So we left with only two systems, underdamped system or overdamped system. We can take it like that. Like these are the two poles in the overdamped system, and this is the pole, the dominant pole that we take into the consideration, and we neglect this because this is the ordinary pole. But if you observe carefully, you get to know this is the pole that is responsible to make your system fast and make it more stable. This make it less stable and make the system sluggish, and we have to choose this because this is a dominant pole. Because most of the response of your system will come out because of this route, and less amount of response came out because of this route. Response is less, but it is responsible for to make the system more stable and make it more fast. So overdamped system, if you get to know its response analysis, you get to know it will be like this of a second order system. So it behave like a first order system. Physically this is a second order system, but it start functioning like a first order system. This is the problem of the overdamped system. So we left with only underdamped system. So in case of the underdamped system, the range of value will be between the zeta equal to 0 to 1. At imaginary axis, when system is undamped, the value of zeta is 0 because there is no damping, na? And from this is the location, locus it form. Anywhere on the complex plane, if root exists, the system will be underdamped. If any root exists in the complex plane, it always exists into the complex conjugate form. So this is all about the response analysis. So we can make it very clear. Now we are going to do the response analysis of a second order system. But which system? Underdamped system. It may have the problem of overshoot, but we somehow try to control this problem of overshoot by trying to increase the damping of the system. Okay. Now we are going to find out the stability of a second order underdamped system, and we already talked about this key in the stability analysis. We need to find out the impulse response. So this is the impulse response of a second order underdamped system, where we take the input as the impulse and find out its response. So while we finding out the stability by using the impulse response, we just need to find out whether the response is absolutely integrable or not. If it is absolutely integrable, system will stable, otherwise it is not stable. So this is the response of a second order underdamped system, impulse response. In this case, you can find out, like if you find out this response in the time domain, like impulse response in the time domain, it will be comes out, if you do the inverse Laplace transform by using the partial differentiation method, and it comes out to be omega n divided by 1 minus zeta square e raised to power minus zeta omega nt sine omega dt ut. You can see one thing, that system is absolutely integrable because it have the finite area. You can see it like that. So this is the maximum value. One second, let me complete this. This is the maximum value that have the value omega n divided by 1 minus zeta square, and this is the least value of the response when value of sine omega dt equal to minus 1, that is minus omega n divided by 1 minus zeta square, and it will be exponentially decreasing because of this factor, like it will be e raised to power minus zeta omega nt, and system have the oscillations because of the factor sine omega dt. But you need to observe one thing, that is second order underdamped system. If you find out the impulse response, your system will oscillate, it have the oscillations. But if you see the first order system, then there will be no oscillations. If you compare it with the first order system, where the impulse response that will be equal to 1 over 1 plus st, where time is constant is the basic parameter, give the 1, and then find out its the impulse response in time domain, that comes out to 1 by t e raised to power minus t by t ut. You can easily see this thing. The response of the system is absolutely integrable, so as in this case. So area is finite, so you can say the response is absolutely integrable, and if response is absolutely integrable, that means the curve under the response will be finite area. So you can say system is stable. So this is all about the stability of a second order underdamped system. Now we are going to discuss about the ability of the system, where we just need to find out how fast and accurately the system will track the command given to it. To find out the ability of the system, we just need to find out its step response. We can also find out the ramp response and parabolic response, but they have some problem with the issue of the steady state error. So we only discuss about the step response. This is more useful, where we give the step as the input and find out its response. So this is all about the step response, where you find out the response will be like this. If you find out the step response in the time domain, you get to know that step response in the time domain, that comes out to be I think 1 minus e raised to power minus zeta omega nt divided by, I just skip the derivation part here, sine omega dt plus phi, the phase shift only, and this is equal to, in this case this is the steady state response, and this is the transient response. In this case, we also analyze the different parameters like rise time, delay time, settling time, peak time, a maximum overshoot, steady state error. These are the things we are going to analyze. But in this case, we don't analyze one parameter, that steady state error, that we will going to analyze in some other lecture. Except that we analyze all other time domain parameter. In this case, the response will be decreasing exponentially because of this term e raised to power minus zeta omega nt, and this value will be equal to 1 plus e raised to power minus zeta omega nt divided by 1 minus zeta square, and this value will be equal to 1 minus e raised to power minus zeta omega nt divided by 1 minus zeta square. When you take the value of this term minus 1, sorry, plus 1, then you get the minimum value. So this is the way how it track the command given to it. So in this case, first we need to find out the delay time. Delay time is the time it will take to reach to the 50% of the final response value. What is the final response value? 1 in this case. So this is somewhere like here. So this will be the delay time, TD. So this will be the 50% response, 0.5 value with this. This is your delay time. And what about the rise time? We discussed in the first order system there is a problem related to the rise time. The exact definition of the rise time will be the amount of time the response will take to reach to the 100% of it, the final value from the 0% value. But in case of the first order system, it will ideally take the infinite amount of time. But this is not the case in case of the second order system. This is the second order under time system. No? It will take finite time, but there is a problem. It will achieve the final value of the response multiple time, like it here. It will multiple time. It will go through the final value of the response. So which one is the rise time? The rise time will be the time it will take to reach to the final value of response first time. This is the first time it will reach. So this is equal to the TR. Now we are going to discuss one more thing. What about that is the peak time? The peak time is the time the response will take to reach to the peak value of the response. But it will reach to the peak value multiple time again. Like this is the one peak. This is again second peak. This is again second peak. So which one is the peak time? Again the same definition. The first time when it go through the peak, the amount of time it will take to reach to the first peak. This is the first peak. This is called peak time. Then we discuss about the rise time. Rise time is the settling time. Settling time is the when your response will settle down within the tolerance band of plus minus 2% error, like this one. So this will be your settling time. And what is the overshoot? This will be the overshoot. This will be the overshoot. Like the difference between the peak value to the final value of the response. So if you need to find out the delay time will come out to be like here. If I see delay time, that comes out to be when it reaches the 50% of the final response value, you can find out it come nearly equal to 1 plus 0.7 zeta divided by omega n. But you need to not very concerned about the delay time, because second order system is not get sluggish as compared to the first order system. They are a little faster than them. As the order of the system increase, the speed also increase. So delay time is very less. So, but if you talk about the rise time, when it reaches to the final value of the response first time, 100% value, that comes out to be pi minus cos inverse zeta divided by omega n 1 minus zeta square. And to find out the value, that is a peak time, how you calculate the peak time? Peak time will be calculated when the response will be at its peak, and anything will be at peak that have a specialization, that at the peak the slope will 0. Slope of the response will be 0. Slope is 0 at maximum or minimum. So you just need to find out the slope of the step response. Slope of the step response and find out the t value. But in this case, this also have a problem. This is this will be 0. You can put it equal to 0, and it will be 0 at maximum and minimum. So this is the maximum. This is the maximum, and this will be the minimum. So it may give you the undershoot value also. It may give you the overshoot. It may give you the undershoot. And for that you need to find out the second differentiation of the step response and put the critical value. If the value comes out to be negative, then definitely it is the value of maxima. And corresponding that the amount of time it will take, that is the peak time. This is the peak time. So this will become out equal to n pi by omega d. But in this case, sometimes the question will be asked amount first peak will be occur at which time? The first peak will be occur at n equal to 1, second at 2, third at 3, and so on. But you need to be take care that if someone asks about the overshoot, the amount of time it will reach to the first overshoot occur at n equal to 1, second overshoot occur at n equal to 3. This is the second overshoot. This is the second overshoot. And this is the first undershoot. The first undershoot occur at 2, second undershoot occur at n equal to 4. This is all about the undershoot. And this is all about the overshoot. Now we are going to discuss about the overshoot of the system. But before that, we remain with the settling time. Settling time is same as in case of the first order system. The four time of the time constant. What is time constant in this case? The time constant is equal to the, for that you need to know the pole locations of the root of second order system. They will be like this: minus zeta omega n plus minus j omega n 1 minus zeta square. So this is your omega d, damped frequency of oscillations. This is your damping factor, and the reciprocal of damping factor is called time constant, 1 by alpha, and alpha equal to zeta omega n. So you can easily say settling time will be equal to 4 by zeta omega n, when your error will be in the range of plus minus 2% tolerance band. If you take 1%, you can say 5 by zeta omega. This is all about the discussion till settling time. Now we are going to discuss about the overshoot. So to know the overshoot, so suppose this is the input value given to it, and this is the first peak occur, and the value of the first peak, suppose this is equal to 1.2. So according to you, what should be the overshoot? You might say 1.2 minus 1, 0.2. This may be the MP, but actually this is the wrong. Actually the definition of overshoot will be this. This is the definition. Peak value of response minus final value of the response. It does not depend upon the input value, depend on the final value. Most of the time we take the final value that is equal to the step command given to it, or whatever the command given to it. But it may not be the case always. Suppose the final value we consider, in this case you can consider it to be 0.98. Then what is the overshoot in this case? And definitely the overshoot came out to be 1.2 minus 0.98. That comes out to be 0.22. This is the overshoot came out. So if this is the overshoot, what about the percentage overshoot? Definitely what you do, you multiply it with the 100, and that comes out to be 22%. Okay, that's fine. But suppose I multiply the input value 1, instead of giving the 1 value as the input, I give 2, multiply with 2, and definitely your peak value also multiply with the 2, and final value of the response also multiply with the 2. Then in that case your peak value of the response will become 2.4, and this will again multiply by 2, comes out to 1.96, that comes out to 0.44. This is your overshoot. This is your overshoot. Then what is your percentage overshoot? Then you might say multiply by 100, 44%. But this is again wrong. Why? Because percentage overshoot is this. To find out the percentage overshoot, first what you need to find out? You need to find out the normalized overshoot. This is called the normalized overshoot. And normalized overshoot is the relative difference between the peak value and the final value divided by the final value. If you multiply the input 1, then your peak value also multiply with the same amplitude. You can say a respect of 2, you can say A. This also multiply with the A, this also multiply with the amplitude A. So your CTP, that will become A time of CTP. And final value response, they also multiply with the same amplitude A, and denominator parts also multiply with the same amplitude. So this A will cancel out. So you will left with only the same overshoot that happened in the previous case. What is that? 22%. So in this case, the overshoot, percentage overshoot, then you multiply with the 100. It comes out to be 22%, not the 44%. 44% नहीं आएगा, 22% आएगा. So this is the common mistake we commit most of the time, that we just simply multiply with the 100 and find out that this is percentage overshoot. We find out the overshoot, multiply with the 100, call it the percentage overshoot. This is not the case, because while you calculate the percentage overshoot, first you need to find out the overshoot. So on that note, you can say your overshoot is a function of system parameter as well as your input parameter, but your percentage overshoot is only a function of system parameter, not the input parameter. वो input amplitude पे depend नहीं करता. This is all about the like time domain response analysis of a second order system, where which can generalize this like that. You find out the impulse response to find out the stability of the system, where you just need to find out whether the response is absolutely integrable or not. Then you find out the step response to know the ability of the system, in which you just need to find out how fast and accurately it will track the command given to that. And then we discuss about the overshoot. And this is all about this lecture. Thank you.